Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. If you're still with me on this series, it means you are taking the Holy Chic Iconic Installation Art course. And I want to congratulate you on activating your inner genius and your inner artist and allowing that to become more magnified in your life and demonstrated uh, by telling your stories on a whole different level. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about this painting that you see right up here behind me. This is one of the very first paintings that I did many years ago. It originally started out as a sketch, and then it evolved and it picked up some color, and then it picked up some technique, and then it picked up a few stones and gemstones. One of the things you can't really tell by the picture itself is that her third eye is a moonstone, and it's surrounded obviously by glitter, meaning the Holy Spirit. If you are following my work, you know that I use glitter in every one of my paintings, every one of my projects, and that it tells the story of something I see or something I witness that has an awareness or the life presence, the revelation of the Holy Spirit being active and alive in that energy. So, this specific painting is telling a story about a past life that I experienced when I went to the Galisteo, New Mexico Institute for Past Lives. I went to the same place and studied with the same people that Shirley MacLaine did many, many years ago, 1980s. And she somewhat made that place a little bit famous and promoted it in her book called Out on a Limb. Uh, One of my dear girlfriends and I took the same journey that Shirley MacLaine did down to Peru, and we went to Machu Picchu and went to Cusco and back into Miraflores, into Lima. And we were there at a time when it was a lot of unrest, a lot of chaos and communist gunfire bombing going on. So it was not the safest place for two little girls or young women at the time from Kansas to be found. And so we had a sponsor down there who was with the BBC radio station and kind of sheltered us there. Anyway, that's not part of the story. The story is about having done the past life regressions, having made myself aware of and activated my higher self, my spirit guides, be able to talk to them, be able to establish direct communication with those energies, those highest frequencies that is possible in my life, and thus being able to download and activate my DNA and my access to God as I see him or her. A lot of people call it the Great Spirit, your higher self, um, your higher power, your ascended masters. They call it in heaven. There's all kinds of concepts, but what it is for me is that I have a personal relationship with this energy, this being, this um, highest good of my awareness. And for me, that is love. So for me, the word God got translated into love. If it's loving, there must be God in it. Okay. It's divine intelligence. There is no greater intelligence than God or love in this universe, in my opinion. Okay, please hear that. You can argue with me all day long. Please do it on your own couch. This is my opinion. This is my video. This is work that I have done. This is what we're here about. So, um, calmly and politely, just leave the conversation if you can't comprehend it. I'm not asking you to agree. I'm not asking you to change your opinion. I'm just telling you a story so that you understand where I come from with my work. Okay. This to me was the image that I saw in a past life that I had achieved greater mastery in. And this was the image that I saw. Um, it's now displayed in my home with two ninja warriors. And back then in Japan, ninjas were only allowed to be men. They weren't allowed to be women. So it was a very sexist, um, what's the word, disagreeable title for a woman to have. And then there is another emperor on my other side. This is what I call my Japanese lifetime wall. I don't always have a whole um, space dedicated to them, but this is something. My prayer chair sits over here to my right, and my guests and people that I counsel with will obviously frequently set to my left in this space. There is an altar. I don't know, you can't really tell, but this plant is sitting on a higher altar. And so sometimes the things that I'm praying on, things that I'm um, trying to manifest or have intentions for, and people that I hold in prayer, I'll put their names or their pictures or something of an intention on this altar. And as I pass through in my home in the hall or on the floor, from room to room, this is a remembrance of them and to pray for them, to hold them up to my highest energy, my highest being. The swords are here because I learned rituals a long, long time ago that I really resonated with. That sometimes when we have cords in our body, we have our heart all open when we're young and we fall in love with our high school sweetheart or the girl next door who's so beautiful, and we get married, or the boy next door. You can go either way there. Or we have expectations about getting a certain job or becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer or, making a certain amount of money. And those things don't materialize or they happen in a different way. But sometimes they continue to affect us or we continue to hold on to them. They continue to trigger us. I use the technique called cord cutting. And I take my sword. I'm usually in prayer and meditation. I've spent time with God. I've, protected and shielded myself not only with ascended masters, but Christed beings that I know and am comfortable with. And I bring out my sword and I start cutting those energy cords of those beings that have attached themselves to my energy or my heart, that drain my energy, that literally suck the life force out of me. The memory of being with them sucks and drains me. So I use my sword as a tool to release them from my aura. Sometimes I can just go into certain social engagements and feel like people plug into me, drain my energy, and try to manipulate my energy or my power. And I'll come home and have to do cord cutting, excuse me. Those are the little tools that you can adapt for self-care for yourself. Um, this lifetime happened to be a lifetime in which I had achieved a great amount of self mastery and was able to teach a lot of people how to achieve self mastery for themselves and demonstrate that in their own lives. And so this was a significant lifetime for me that I will hold on to and value for some time. Now, when I talk about past lives, one of the things I talk about is my definition of God, my definition of what God is and how God operates in my life. And for me, I had to find a different definition than the one I grew up with. That one no longer served my soul or my evolution or the raising of my frequency. And so I became aware, and actually one day as a small child had a vision. I was just laying out having a picnic and saw some clouds floating up in the sky, and it became very clear to me that God is like a cloud, and it can rain down, and it nourishes the earth. It waters and gives life and growth and love to the plants and to the wildlife. And then it dissipates and it goes back to the cloud or to God. And so therein lies a example, an illustration of how I think of God and how God operated in my life for some time. And remember, this is my personal and private authority. It is not a religion. It is not a dogma that you have to follow or that you have to believe in to even have a conversation with me. It is just an illustration of an understanding that I came to so that I could accept the idea or the concept of a power greater than myself, and how what we learn in this third dimensional earth walk, how I could translate those words, those understandings into a language that worked and resonated with my soul. In this lifetime, when it was at closure, I was old, I was ready to pass, I knew that, and I took a bottle of liquid and walked up to the mountain and saw this very old dead tree and poured the liquid onto the tree. The tree came to life. I was able to climb up into the tree and out on the branches, and I was able to look out and see the mountain and the view in front of me. And upon meditating about this view and this pinnacle that I had achieved in my life, I was able to literally, willingly, effortlessly, painlessly let my soul go back to God, to the clouds. So in doing so, I had achieved a level of personal, physical, and self-mastery. So I want to always hold that idea in my mind and offer that to you, because that is what I have achieved with other people when I've worked with them in hospice situations. We've been able to let their body lift when it's their time, not with medication, not with shock therapy, not with anything else, just letting them relax very peacefully and letting their souls lift from their body like a cloud and go back to its source. Um, I do believe that when you let go of the body, that a lot of information and other dimensions on the other side of the veil, as we would say, are revealed to you. And I have witnessed many people in that transition of leaving their body. And sometimes I'll come back for a few minutes and talk, and then leave again a little bit, and then come back and talk, and leave again a little bit, and come back and talk. And so I wanted to leave you with this idea that our transitions into our next life or back to our cloud can be very painless and very effortless and very pleasant and blissful, full of peace and joy. I do believe that as we are little raindrops, as individual souls, that we're of one cloud. In some theories that I've read, we all have 12 lifetimes. Some people say more, but let's say we have 12. And if we are living in a paradigm where there is no time, or there are individual timelines, so this is my Kansas lifetime, this is my Egyptian lifetime, this was my Atlantan lifetime, This was my Japanese lifetime. All of those lifetimes can be going on simultaneously in our DNA because we're all connected to our cloud source, our God source, our love source, and all time exists simultaneously. So, with that being said, I want to drop that on you and let those codes land in you and see if something doesn't burst forth, a truth for you that you can shift and operate on a different level with. But I also want to wish you well, wish you much love and kindness and gentleness in your own transitional process. Mwah!